Hey everybody, I wanted to show you this real quick, and this is probably the last video I'm going to do for a bit. I need to step back and kind of reflect on some of the stuff I've done. Plus I need to balance it with my own work life and stuff like that. When I did Doth with you guys, there was a piece I left out that I discovered this morning, and I think it's kind of important to add to all this. So, if you remember, the Fool card is represented as 0, and it's also represented as 22. Now, the 22 is the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and 22 is when the Fool reaches a point of Da'ath. Okay, there's two places on the tree that have that symbolism. One is when physical manifestation first comes into being, and that's the representation of the gate or the door and the eye. Which represents the nebula. It's physical manifestation first coming into being. The second place that we see this on the tree is at a point of Da'ath, because Da'ath is spelled Daleth, Ayin, Ta. And so Daleth means door or gate. The Phoenician hieroglyph for that is a triangle. For Ayin, of course, it's the eye, right? And then Ta represents the 22nd letter, which is also the final path of the Fool, the 22nd. So what we didn't add was the hieroglyph for Ta, which I'm going to do right now for you, and it's going to give you a little bit of insight. So when you reach a point of Da'ath, like we talked about last night, that is the same as showing you an image of Christ being crucified on the cross, because he's a point of Da'ath, right? His head has reached that certain point. That's what that means. And I showed this also to you down here. This is St. Mary's Church in France. It's kind of like an as above, so below picture, because we have the macrocosm showing the nebula first coming into being, which is that same symbolism as what we have when we reach a point of Da'ath. So let's take a look at the hieroglyph for Ta. This is Ta in Hebrew alphabet. It's the 22nd letter. These are different versions of the cross, which means crucifixion. This is the Latin. This is St. Anthony's, which is also the Tau. And this is the Greek and St. Andrew's cross. So let's take a look at 3 of these real quick. So St. Andrew's cross, and you can also find these in the paintings of these inside cathedrals. St. Andrew's cross, for example, there is a picture which I didn't decide to search for on my computer. I've got it somewhere, but it's a beautiful painting of St. Andrew on the cross, and he's, I guess, at the high altar area, and he's looking up, and they're putting a crown on his head, and they're reaching out from the clouds to do it. So it's kind of an interesting symbolism there. Because he's getting the crown and all of that. But so Ta, it comes from the Phoenician Ta right here. And then Ta is believed to be derived once again from an Egyptian hieroglyph, meaning mark. So if you look at the Phoenician and you look at the Egyptian, you can see that they're the same. So it looks like it's been derived once again from Egyptian stuff. So Ta means truth, okay? And so if we take a look at the Gospel of Truth again, there's some really interesting stuff here, because this is a really important paragraph. It really puts this Da'ath together for you, because it says, through him the enlightened, Jesus the Christ, through him he enlightened those who were in darkness because of forgetfulness. He enlightened them and gave them a path, and that path is truth, which is the last letter of Da'ath. For this reason they were angry with him. It persecuted him. It was distressed by him, so it made him powerless. He was nailed to a cross, crucifixion, right? And we can see that this is the representation of crucifixion. He became the fruit of the knowledge. So this symbolism that we see right here in Da'ath, we have the eye in the triangle, which is the door to the eye, basically. And then at the very end, we have the symbol for crucifixion, and which makes sense because he has reached a point of da'ath because he is now up at the same area, which is the symbolism for Adam, or the symbolism of physical manifestation first coming into being. So what's also interesting about this is that truth happens to be the exact same thing that the Egyptians, when they went through the hall of judgment with Osiris, their heart was weighed against the feather of truth. So it's the same way of expressing a heart that understands knowledge is the same thing as da'ath. And their heart was weighed against the feather of truth. It is the same representation of what we see in ancient Egypt when they went through the hall of judgment with Osiris. Remember, Osiris's symbol is this. It's an eye on a throne, according to E.A. Wallace Budge, as well as Asari in Babylonian. It's the same symbol, which means good man or being. And it means crucifixion, and it also means truth. So I hope with that information, this has helped you guys kind of understand the secret symbolism behind some of this stuff. And now you know what it all means. So da'ath is the eye, the triangle, and crucifixion all in one, representing finally reaching the same point as the symbolism where physical manifestation first comes into being. So you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon.